This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Hey, good morning. Welcome on to your Monday. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Evan Thomason. Hope you're having a great Monday so far. Welcome on to the brand new work week. Hello. Hope you're having a fantastic day here. Again, heading into your Monday overall, it's a pretty, I wouldn't say the best of work weeks upcoming weather-wise here in the Arklatex, but we've only made slight tweaks to the forecast we had from the weekend overall, okay? And we're going to explain that in just a little bit, but essentially we changed the conditions a little bit. We changed the temperatures just a little bit as well, so it's not as perfect as it was this weekend. Trust me, Dom and Steven, they gave me fine praise this morning. For the past weather on both Saturday and Sunday was absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, we're going to kind of move the temperatures, again, just little tiny adjustments to the temperatures and conditions around the Arklatex here today throughout this work week. That'll make it a good work week. I wouldn't say a great work week at all. Or not at all, but you get the point. We're making slight adjustments to our conditions here over the next several days that'll conditions out and around. Just so you know as well, what you're seeing out for today too, is likely to be what's in store throughout this entire work week. I will say that change is not going to be happening much around here in regards to drastic changes of the conditions or the temperatures or anything like that over the next several days. Our next big, day of change around here is not looking to be not until Sunday. So, again, we have around here for today. It's likely going to stick around throughout the work week. But regardless, we'll talk about it further coming up in our First Alert Weather Breakdown. Again, hopefully you had a great weekend. Just to recap that, again, we had temperatures in the upper 60s, lower 70s as high temperatures. We had abundant sunshine, no rain. It was just a nice, beautiful day around. Wow. Yeah, for both Saturday and Sunday. I went out and around on some good walks around town. Hopefully you did the same. It was good. It was a good weekend to make the most of it because, sadly, yes, I'll go ahead and say this. Sadly, I don't think next weekend is going to be as good. Now, it's hard to top this past weekend, but we've already got some things in store for next weekend that might not make it as good as what it was this past weekend. Overall, we're talking about a warm forecast. That's probably our biggest headline here for the day today is the warmest temperatures of 2025 so far. Not just today, but throughout the week. This warm, moist air mass is going to stay with us here over the next 5 to 6 days. Talk about that further in just a second. And for exclusive content for today, it's kind of back to like a 4th grade elementary school class. It's like one of those lessons like you learn in like 4th or 5th grade about what kinds of clouds there are, and like the weather lesson back in elementary school. But it's something that never gets followed up on after that 4th or 5th grade elementary school class. So guess what? We're going to go over that. We're going to go over that a little more in depth. And guess what? Even I needed to refresh on one or, like a few types of clouds as well. So if I need a good refreshment, I feel like everybody else could use a good refreshment as well. All right, let's get into our forecast here for today. Again, First Alert Weather Breakdown. We basically take the main weather forecast from the shows and we make it an extended forecast, essentially. We put so usually I'll have like a number of graphics I'll use per segment. The first weather forecast will usually have like 4 graphics. The main weather forecast will usually have somewhere in the ballpark of 6 to 7. For this, the First Alert Weather Breakdown, the weather podcast, I can have as many as I want. The point just goes to show we can talk about anything and everything on this weather podcast, and we can drag things out. I can also speak and don't have to roll over my words, speak too quickly to make sure I get done in time before news has to have their time back on. You get the point. Just go over anything and everything. And guess what? If you have questions, this isn't just me talking to you guys. It is if you're listening on KSLA.com or in our live stream as well. But if you want to talk to me live on the podcast, YouTube is the way to do it. KSLA News 12, we have a page on YouTube. We're live on there right now. You can leave a live comment and I can type it in live on the chat as well. So you can also provide your reactions, give a heart, whatever you want to do on our KSLA News 12 live stream going on again right now currently. Last thing I want to get, or no, I'll get to this later. I'll get to this later when we wrap things up. But I just want to say briefly, and I'll go into this a little more extensively. If you can't watch these episodes live, you don't have to. They're on our website as recordings, and you can listen to them on your free time. I don't have a set sleeping schedule. So guess what? If you're up at 10:30 p.m., you want to listen to the First Alert Weather Breakdown, you can do so. You can find out how on our website. You can go to First Alert Weather Breakdown, type it up, and all of our episodes should be on there. Pretty cool. All right, let's get to our forecast here. It is a beautiful day. I will say a lot more sunshine than originally projected, especially in Texarkana, which is good news, especially by this time, 10:30. Earlier today, this was completely cloudy about 2 to 3 hours ago on our Window World camera. Hold up. I know I'm looking all around. It makes me look like I'm a crazy person when I'm looking all the way around, but I am trying to get rid of that KSLA News 12 bug. There it goes. Finally. There we go. Now I can focus a little more on you guys. But anyways, point is, we had a lot of cloud cover on this camera here earlier in Texarkana. Thankfully, clouds have actually dragged away out of this webcam, which is good, but I think we might find a little more cloud cover, yes, in Shreveport and Bossier on our Matthews landscape and past camera. Excuse me. Although we do face a good amount of peaks of sunshine on this camera, which is good news. I think these conditions overall are pretty much going to carry on throughout the rest of today. We do have a slim 10% chance of rain, actually, out of these showers, but again, it's a slim 10% chance, and overall, I think the majority of the Arklatex is still going to stay fairly dry. Temperatures upper 60s around the Arklatex already, and it's just past 10:30. 68 in Shreveport, 69 in Texarkana, 66 in Natchitoches. So you might need some sleeves on the way out the door, but overall, I think it's t-shirt and shorts weather from here on out. For the most part. I will say you're waking up to these temperatures again tomorrow morning, mid-60s, so you might plan on a little bit of a jacket again here by the time we get into the early morning hours of tomorrow. Besides that, it's looking like t-shirt and shorts weather, not just today, but carry on for the rest of the week. I want to hint at one thing as well. Look at the shade of blue. If you were staring at that shade of blue throughout the week, that's our cold air, and it just doesn't even dip down into the Arklatex at all. I can't even replay it here for you. It's something that continues to stay well off to our north, and we continue to have warm air infiltrating into the Arklatex here, still over the course of the next 5 days. So what I said earlier, the conditions of today aren't going to change by that much until the weekend. This is one of those things. The warm temperatures are going nowhere. And neither is the humidity and cloud cover, which, guess what? Because we're bringing in warm air, and sadly, yes, we're bringing warm out of the south. Guess what's to our south? The Gulf of Mexico. So the humidity is also helping to keep us warm here in the most part. It's going to be nice and moist, I guess, overall, over the next several days. I will say there's no... I'm going to talk more about the rain chances here in just a minute, but essentially, we're bringing in a good amount of humidity, just not a good amount of rain chances here over the next several days. We'll talk about why in just a moment. But overall, we can have this warm, moist air in place, again, all the way through Friday. There's hints it could go all the way through Saturday. Then watch up to the north and west. We'll finally have our good change and finally move our warm, moist air mass away from the Arklatex, at least for some portion of time. And it looks like that transition is going to happen on Sunday, and we're going to start to welcome back in winter heading into next work week. So if you're one to enjoy warmer temperatures, if you've been wanting to complain about all the cold weather around the Arklatex during winter, well, guess what? This is your week, and it's only your week, at least here for the short term. So yes, we stay warm, again, for the entire work week this week. Weekend, we change things around. Next week, it's looking like we're back into winter, back into, February, what it should be around the Arklatex here. So let's take a look at our highs today. 78 in Texarkana, 76 in DeKalb, 77 in Broken Bow. I mean, very impressive high temperature. 74 in Carthage, 75 in Longview. In northwest Louisiana, 76 in both Natchitoches and Shreveport. Overall highs in the mid-70s here for today. Again, we're already having our temperatures at 10:30 in the upper 60s. So much more time to warm us on up for not just today, for the rest of the work week. We're pretty much not really altering things around here for the next 5 to 6 days. If anything, things could get warmer around here. There could be a high of 80 degrees on Thursday. Some of us could break a sweat, especially if you're working outside, not just from today, but over the next several days, especially on Thursday, that 80-degree temperature day. All right, for our future track, just a little bit of some clouds lingering around here for the day today. Then we get into tomorrow. And tomorrow gives us a little more cloud cover around. If you do see and look a little closely, you will find a little bit of some green freckles on this map, indicating just the slimmest chance of rain from this little increase in influx of moisture, which is going to roll into the region, especially here for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Overall, we could clear things up just in brief portions of time throughout the week, but overall, it's a pretty cloudy work week. Thankfully, there isn't really a low-pressure system moving across the country into our region that's going to kind of collect all this moisture and really evolve it into significant scattered showers at all. So what I'm hinting at is because there's no low pressure coming in, we have no system, we have no organization with this at all, and most of the moisture that we're getting is just cloud cover. It's not rain at all. So yeah, we're kind of just dealing with these slight drizzling rain showers in for the next several days. Overall, next 7 days, yes, we do have a chance of rain and a little hint of rainfall accumulation over the progression of the next 7 days, but it's almost the lightest color of green you can get on this map. I mean, a tenth of an inch, quarter of an inch, maybe, in the Arctotex over the next 7 entire days. Overall, I'm not expecting our next most substantial chance of wet weather until Sunday/Monday. It's kind of variable as of right now, but overall, our next main weather system I'm watching out for is coming in about a week time from now. And some of that could roll into, yes, Super Bowl Sunday. But taking a look at this full 7-day forecast, including the lows of which my face was blocking out. 76 here today. Temperatures, again, staying very warm over the next several days. Look at those tiny rain chances each and every day. Each and every day, we don't have a 0% chance of rain, but it's very slim. 10 to 20% chance. Overall, 20 is way less than the flip of a coin. So overall, I think most of the Arctotex stays very dry. Here through Saturday, through the progression of the next 6 days, we finally start to cool on down. You see by Sunday, highs down to the 60s. There are highs on our 12-day forecast of where we get down into the 50s for high temperatures next week. So almost like the flip of a switch, we go back to cold air next week. But we'll see. We'll see closer to the date about how the specifics are exactly going to play out. But for the meantime, highs are in the 70s. Look at the morning lows, only down in the mid-60s here, at least for the next 3 to 4 mornings before those finally start to cool off more as well. All right, let's look at your full forecast. Coming up next, we're going to look at types of clouds, and we're going to evolve together. I'm going to try to explain what different types of how can you decipher when you just look into the sky and say, I wonder what that type of cloud is. And sometimes I know some people like to make animals, what they think is animals, or certain people out of clouds, cloud sightseeing, so to speak. But I'll let you know what types of clouds you can witness in the atmosphere and how to kind of decipher between them, all coming up after this. All right, welcome on back to the First Alert Weather Breakdown. Again, I'm meteorologist Evan Thompson. Thanks for hopping on in to scientist Evan Thomas, and you could say. We're looking at clouds. We're explaining what different types of clouds there are in the atmosphere. Now, I know when it comes to this question, some of you would at least know, a select few amounts of types of clouds, the most common, so to speak. Cumulus and cirrus. And at its basis, those are probably the two most common types of clouds because they kind of are the easiest to decipher and determine between, because cumulus are usually the clouds that you see at the typical level that they usually form, especially when it comes to rainy clouds or just clouds that contain rain. Cirrus clouds are the clouds way high up in the air that almost look like they're a thin type of sheet of blanket. It's just enough to form a cloud, but obviously nothing threatening to give us any rain, so to speak. But guess what? There's several different types of clouds that we're going to go to right now. All right, so this is a good diagram that we found on our graphic system here. Types of clouds here. This is what we're watching out, or not. This is not. I was about to say this is what we're watching out for. This is what we always watch out for. Here in the Arklatex. In particular, the most threatening is always cumulonimbus. Cumulonimbus is the scariest type of cloud you could call, the darkest cloud. That's our thunderstorm cloud. And the main reason for that is because it goes from the low levels all the way to the highest levels. It'll really span over such a huge depth. That gives it the power to be a thunderstorm. That gives it the power to create the heavy rain showers, the hail, the even types of severe weather, and things dealing with tornadoes and that certain thing, so to speak. So there's that. Going over other types of clouds, stratus, stratocumulus as well. Those are hard to determine from cumulus as well, because cumulus is usually just those almost like cotton balls that you'll find at the lowest levels. At the surface. Again, cirrus, high-level clouds. There is altocumulus, which you'll find at the mid-levels. Mid-levels are always hardest to determine in my mind because, what deciphers between those clouds at the lowest levels and highest levels. I mean, I guess you can pinpoint, like, things that happened in between those two levels, yes, but it's a little harder, I gotta admit. All I will say is any type of cumulus cloud, for the most part, can give us a sense of wet weather. Nimbostratus goes from the surface to the mid-latitudes as well, and that'll help to develop a little more substantial rainfall and light to moderate rain showers all around the Arklatex, or anywhere for that matter. Cirrostratus clouds, pretty light. I will say those high-level clouds, very intriguing, first of all. The cirrocumulus, though, remember, anything cumulus is usually anything that's kind of threatening to look, that kind of looks to give us rain showers. That's the best way I can describe it, and there's a certain puffiness to it, a little more a thickness. That's a better scientific term for that. That's involved with each of these different types of cumulus clouds that gives it that chance of rain, period, so to speak. When you're talking about cirrostratus, and stratus, pretty much all stratus clouds, except for nimbostratus, actually. Most of those are so thin they can't provide rain showers whatsoever, but they're just different kinds of clouds. I will say I know I'm kind of jumping from cloud to cloud here, but there's a lot to look at. I'm very entertained by this. But essentially, again, cumulonimbus, let's go from right to left, because I realize I've been jumping all over the place. Right to left. Let's start with cumulonimbus. Again, those are threatening clouds. I already talked about a little more in discussion. Those are the clouds that give us thunderstorms, heavy rain, any type of severe weather, essentially. Nimbostratus usually gives us, moving a little bit to the left, nimbostratus usually kind of gives us a light to moderate rainfall, especially you can kind of see those darker shades of clouds as well. You'll also see on that graphic where you'll see some peaks of sunshine potentially through there as well. I think that's the big thing that helps it decipher between that and cumulonimbus, since obviously you can't see how tall a cumulonimbus cloud is usually because it's stuffed with a bunch of stormy clouds all around it. Cirrostratus is kind of almost like a blanket, a light blanket on the top of the surface. That's the best way I can use to describe that. Then moving over to the next one, cumulus. Cumulus is kind of the baby form of cumulonimbus, which is a thunderstorm that's really strengthened and maintained itself. But I guess cumulus you could think of as like the earliest stages to developing a thunderstorm and to developing a cumulonimbus cloud, because it has to start somewhere. We start with an updraft. We start forming the cloud and pulling in a little bit of rain into it, and then eventually more and more and more come into and come into the cumulus cloud and feed it, and eventually it comes the cumulonimbus cloud, so to speak. For altostratus, kind of similar to cirrostratus as well, just found mainly at the mid-latitudes, but essentially blanket, flat blanket. It definitely doesn't look threatening, first of all, number one, and number two, it doesn't have the thickness involved with it to provide the rain. Cirrocumulus, the easiest way to describe that is gravidoids. I actually called this in my college. It was learned as gravity waves to us, gravity wave clouds. It'll be essentially the pattern of condensing water, and then it'll be, how do I describe this? It's basically water condenses, forms the cloud, and then it goes immediately back to evaporating in between those cloud layers. And essentially, it will go up and down to condensing to evaporating to condensing to evaporating way at the high levels. And that's what kind of forms the indistinctual pattern of clouds that you essentially see like repeated there. It's not a complete blanket, but it's definitely a pattern of which, the cloud, the cirrocumulus clouds all belong together. Stratus is low-level clouds that you could even call fog. Fog is the most common type of stratus cloud. It's way at the surface. That's why it's how low it is, essentially. It could give us, again, anything at the lower levels could give us light rain. And to be fair, when I think of fog, in most cases when you have fog, you don't have severe weather, so to speak. And that's what comes from those stratus clouds. They're not thick enough to provide severe weather, but they're certainly very incredibly moist in the atmosphere. Stratocumulus, kind of similar to cumulus in a way, just a little higher up in the atmosphere. Altocumulus, think of the same thing. I'm going to be honest, I don't know how to, I know how to decipher between the two types of those clouds, but yeah, they're kind of similar to cumulus, not going to lie. Cirrus clouds, it's one of the easiest types of clouds to kind of spot. Well, let's save the easiest for last, I guess, so to speak. Again, there's those high-level clouds that just itty bit. You can tell, like, it's not complete blue sky, but it's definitely something there, so to speak. And that's found way at the higher level. So, yeah, that's your cloud lesson here for today. Hope you enjoyed it. I don't see any questions on YouTube. Yeah, that's the basis of it. I know it's lots of different types of clouds. Again, cumulus and cirrus are obviously the most common and easiest to decipher, even for me. But I hope you learned something new about the cirrocumulus clouds and also the stratus clouds and cumulonimbus. Why am I struggling on this now? I said it like a million times, and now I'm struggling. Cumulonimbus. There we go. Beautiful. All right, anyways. That was like our exclusive content here for today. We're going to wrap this episode up after this, and I'll see what you can look forward to for Tuesday's episode of First Alert Weather Breakdown. You'll get a hint to that after this. Hey, welcome back. First Alert Weather Breakdown. Again, I'm meteorologist Evan Thompson. Thanks again for joining us here for Monday's episode. Hopefully, you got a good refresher of clouds. I know it kind of sounds a little silly, yes, because you learn it in elementary school, but I don't know. It's always good to get a good refresher. That's for certain. Because there's, again, different types of clouds that do, I wouldn't say do certain types of things, but that they're formed in separate manners that give them different titles, essentially. And obviously, they are formed at different levels of the atmosphere, which give them their own distinct names. All right, so that was our Monday episode. For tomorrow, you know what day it is. It's Tuesday. I will say a little thing and disclaimer about tomorrow. I know it's usually the day with CJ, and tomorrow will be the day with CJ. But instead, we're going to do this from now on. Instead of going, unfortunately, into TikTok, we've kind of decided to go on the down low with that, and we're going to take that off, actually. Yes, I know. But instead of doing that, CJ's going to have his own weather content here off of that. But I should say besides that, here for the day on Tuesday, we're going to try to bring in like a distinct like weather video of the week. It could be from the Arklatex. It can be outside of the Arklatex. Just something that gets the discussion kind of going. And talk about some distinct and cool weather videos. Trust me, there's something cool every single week you can look forward to. Some wacky videos, some windy things happening, where the wind knocks things over, where just anything and everything weather-wise, from flooding, which is usually not as good, to thunderstorms. You get the point. We'll bring a weather video here for tomorrow and discuss it in full. CJ is going to bring that to the table here on First Alert Weather Breakdown. So, yeah, meteorologist CJ Cartledge will be on with us here tomorrow on For Your Tuesday. And, yeah, you can look forward to that tomorrow at 10:30. I'm meteorologist Evan Thompson again. Thanks very much for watching Monday's episode. You have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the warm week ahead. Trust me, it's going to feel nice. I'm going to feel great to finally break out my T-shirt and shorts. Some of them might have dust on them. Yes, they actually might. We'll see. I don't think so. Hopefully not. Might come in coughing tomorrow. You'll find out if they were dusty. Anyways, point is, enjoy your warm week. I'll see you tomorrow. CJ will see you also tomorrow at 10:30. Be there, be square, and most importantly, be weather aware. I'll see you again later. Have a great rest of your Monday. Peace.